guys, welcome back. I'm the Northwest Fisherman Chris, if you haven't been here before. Today, we're going to do like kind of a review. So, I told you guys in the last couple of videos that I was going to go on a steelhead trip. Well, it would be yesterday now, which is probably going to be, I'm going to post this Monday, I think. So, 2 days ago. Anyway, so a couple weeks back, rewind to the Washington Sportsman Show. I met the Addicted guys, everything else, and I'd been looking at picking up their Addicted Winter Chrome kit. Okay, and of course they had it, which was really awesome. Got a couple other things. I got a sweatshirt, I got a t-shirt, I got a hat. Actually, I'm wearing my new hat. I like this. But anyway, so I was like, cool. I got the kit, and I've got like other stuff that I have bought in the past. Plus, I have all my drifting stuff. I have all my spoons. I have my spinners. We're set for this trip. I don't really have to get anything. We're good to go. Okay. And I had used what I have left now, because I did lose some gear on this last trip. And it's like, okay, cool. I've used, because I bought these last year at the outdoors show, and I used these for trout on the river, and they worked great. Okay. Now, we'll go ahead and go over the Addicted kit before we dig into more about that. So, in the Addicted Winter Chrome 2 kit, you get one 40-pound Enforcer orange braid, 125 yards, one 50-pound 25 yards of fluorocarbon. Then you get your 12 1/8-ounce worm jigs, you get 5 1/4-ounce worm jigs, you get 5 red fever worms, 5 Slappy Smith worms, 1 1/4-ounce Slinket series jig, 3 1/8-ounce Slinket series jigs, 2 1/16-ounce Slinket series jigs, 2 Steelhead 2 floats, exclusive Steelhead 2 float, 1 decal, blah blah blah. You get the idea. Okay, here's the kit. This is the box it comes in. It's a nice Plano box. Pretty sure it's a Plano. It's a Plano. Let's just, whatever. Okay, and I did use this box, so there's a couple extra things in here that you don't normally get in this box. And it's a nice box, okay? Like, this goes here. I haven't had a chance to let all my stuff dry either. I don't think this is part of this kit. Anyway, so you get, I think there's three floats in here, 3 nice floats. You get a orange one, you get a yellow one, and you get a pink one, okay? Which is great, because these are amazing in low light conditions. This just lights up, okay? Now when the sun gets up higher, you can't really see this off the glare of the water. So that's why you get the orange float with it. And the pink float. Because you can just, orange and pink are pretty easy to see. Okay? But that's the trout float. I picked that up separately. That's not part of the kit. And I lost the actual orange one that goes in this kit. Anyway, moving on, because I lost 2 floats. Both of them were my orange ones. This is the only orange one I have left now. So, you get the jigs in here, which is exciting. The jigs are super great quality too. Like, they're really great quality, and like, even when you use them, the paint doesn't really chip off that easy. This one's got a couple chips, and they're a nice full body jig. Okay, like, here's the orange one. Take that out. You get the little jigs. Like, what you get in here is great quality. I wish this would dry out faster. Then you get your worm head hooks, for your worms. Bite a little bit off there, figure out what you want to do. Anyway, okay, so moving on. The part about this that kind of made me angry. So I have used these floats with jigs and stuff before, floating them for trout. So, let's get to, like, the first annoyance with this. It's not even really an annoyance. It's just kind of something that I didn't think about, and like, nobody, like, me and my group of friends, we hadn't talked about it really before the trip. We were all like, okay, jigs, floats, spoons, spinners, we're there, okay? So, we'll just use this bobber as an example here, this float. So, I'm going to go ahead and rig this up on a little short leader here. Okay, so there's that. Oh, yeah, that's right. All of my rubbers for that set are in there. So to put this on, you slide your first rubber up your main line, okay, and then usually you get it set to where you want it, and then you just kind of slide this rubber over this after you've put your bobber or your float through the bobber, and then you get your other rubber. After that, you just take this and you throw that on your leader too. Okay? Just like that. No big deal. And then you grab your jig of choice. We'll just grab this guy. I used this guy this weekend. Actually, I threw pretty much everything in this box in the water this weekend. Everybody threw everything, because I mean, the water was so clear and it was so nice, and literally the water clarity in this river was about 20 feet. You could just see straight down. It was great. It was beautiful. Okay, tied my jig on. Let's go ahead. Get this on here. And these are really easy to do. You just kind of wet your bobber, with water. Right? Throw your rubber on there. Cinch it up. There you go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this down here for you guys. And bam, right there. Okay? Just imagine that, like 4 or 5 feet. I got my water here. My girlfriend was nice enough to let me use this. So, put your jig in the water, and you put your float in the water. Okay? So, with that 1/4 ounce jig on there, it only sticks up like half of your colored portion is above the water. Okay? Now you're going to be like, oh, Chris, like, what are you doing? There's still a weight on that bobber. You are right. There still is a weight on that bobber. And if you want to change your weights on your float, it's really easy. You just pop that off. There's a little O-ring right here. Probably bring this a little closer so you guys can see it. Okay. See that little weight? See that little O-ring? So all you do, you just pull that right off there. Lose that weight off that. Throw your little rubber back up on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just for the video. Okay. And then you just drop that bad boy back in the water. And you're like, Chris, that looks great. Well, it really did not go that much higher. Oh, wow. This is going to be kind of annoying with the camera. Here, let me pan you guys up a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. Okay. So there's still about 1/4 of an inch, half of an inch of the color part of the float below the water. And normally, in a situation where you're looking at the float like this, you're like, oh, that's not so bad. That's not a big deal. Oh yeah, my jig's sitting on bottom here. Let me lift that jig back up off the bottom. It didn't really change much, okay? So we're still, that weight, taking that weight off, did not make this ride higher in the water column. This is a 1/4 ounce jig, okay? Like, here, I'm going to pan you guys back up, just so I don't sound stupid here, okay? So, look at that, okay? Open you guys up a little bit more. And yeah, so now you can see there's quite a bit. The whole entire part of this, up to about halfway up the M on the Mustad logo, is under the water. Okay, so it's like up to there. So that's a 1/4 ounce jig. So this is like your ideal size of jig for steelhead. This is a great average size. Okay. But the float rides so low in the water, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's not so bad. You still have all of this to see. Okay, well, when you get into, like, any part of current that has, like, a little bit of rip, or a little bit of ripples to it, or anything like that, it makes it a little difficult to tell the difference between, you know, a small bobber down and, you know, it's just not riding very high in the water. So that's kind of annoying. But we'll move on from that, okay? We'll go ahead and cut this off. Just cut that off real quick. And we'll grab another jig. Because that's a jig that comes the same size as the other Sink It jigs in the kit, okay? So we'll grab this guy. This is an 1/8 ounce. It's kind of small, because it's just kind of a smaller profile. Wow, I really cannot just grab onto that little tag. I'm still so tired from this weekend. But we'll go ahead, tie this on here real quick. It doesn't have to be super awesome and amazingly perfect. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to stay on. Okay. Wow, I missed the loop. You guys watching me is putting me under pressure, you know that? Everybody look away from the screen for a second so I can tie this. I guess I could have picked a leader with a little bit more color to it. Okay. So this is an 1/8 ounce. Alright. Straight out of the kit. This is a great jig, by the way. Like, the quality of these jigs is pretty awesome. Okay. Go ahead and throw this in the water here. Now that's a lot better. Okay. I mean, it's still, the bobber's unweighted still, and it's still floating a little bit low. It's like on the bottom of the M on this, versus the 1/4 ounce, which was like up to there. We're now floating down there. Just the mustad parts underneath the water. So that's better. Okay. And we'll grab the baby jig. I think this is the 1/16 ounce, I think it said it was. Yep, 1/16 ounce. Which, by the way, like, these are an absolute killer for trout. I love this color. Super happy with that. Okay. 1/16 ounce, tied on, drop it in the water. Pull that up a little bit there. That floats. I mean, it's still under, the colored part's still under the water, just with that little 1/16 ounce guy on there. And that's without, like, any sand shrimp or, like, anything else put on the back of that. Guys, I love these floats. And I'll be completely honest right now, because these are the only floats I took, which, looking back, was kind of a mistake. Okay? Because they didn't perform the way I had hoped. And when I was using these for trout fishing 1/8 ounce and smaller stuff, I always had a weight on the bobber. I never thought about how much changes that weight on the bottom of the bobber actually make to how it floats in the water with a jig on it. So that's my bad, okay? I didn't think about that. Alright. Now I'll show you guys what happens when you throw a worm on it. Because I know I missed some hits on my worm. Because there were a couple times where my float was just acting weird. But I didn't want to just stand there, being that guy setting the hook every 30 seconds on absolutely nothing. I mean, that's kind of like just asking to just snag one. And I'm not doing that. Like, it's not right, and it's not worth it. Let alone the fact that if you get caught on it, like, also if you just snag one, that's not respectful to the fish. Okay, tie this up here real quick. Okay. Okay, so this is the 1/8 ounce jig head with the worm that comes in the kit, because I had high hopes for this color. Yeah. So, 1/8 ounce jig head with the worm. I even bit off, like, I have a giant chunk of worm that I bit off just because I was looking at the worm. I'm like, let's go a little bit smaller today, Kind of one of those deals where you don't really know how much you want to bite off. So, throw that in there. Yo, it is not even off the bottom. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this thing floats like it has, like, shallower than if you have a 1/4 ounce. I wonder what that was. Than if you had a 1/4 ounce jig on it. Then you add a little bit of wrap and you add the motion to it in the water, and you can't really tell if you have a bite. It kind of really annoys me because I really love these floats, but they're not, even though it's in their steelhead box, I don't feel as if though that this is an appropriate sized float for steelhead. For trout, absolutely fantastic. If you're throwing all that super light stuff, this float is amazing. But for steelhead gear, like if you threw this worm on the just yeeted that sticker down there on the 1/4 ounce head and then put a worm on it and then didn't trim the worm down, I'm not so sure this thing would even really float. So that's like my own like mini little gripe. But I wanted today's video to be a little kind of like recap of how well this worked. Now, everything in this box works great. Everything in here is high quality. It's just I'm not happy with the situation with the floats. And I definitely think that's why the fish I caught was not on a jig. Now, out of all the fish that we caught on the trip, three out of the, I want to say 7 steelhead that we caught total for our whole group, 3 of those were all caught on the exact same jig, on the exact same color, and there was one caught on a twitching jig, but the jig that I'm talking about was under a float. There was one caught on a twitching jig, 2 were caught bottom bouncing soft beads, and then one just guy was hitting the same hole repeatedly for like 4 or 5 hours after one steelhead. He finally caught it on a single bare soft small bead. Oh, that's not a small one. There we go. Essentially like this size, the little one. Not the big one, the little one. And a hook. That's all. No float. He just threw it out there and let it spin around the current because there was a little bit of the way the steam worked there, and it was a nice spot that he was in. But that's what he finally caught that one on. And then the other two were caught on spinners. Mine was caught on spinner. But yeah, dude, guys, it was a great trip. All the gear worked fantastically. It's late season, kind of, yes, but no. But I'm really let down by these floats, and if I would have known this, I would have grabbed some other floats. Now, these floats are awesome for trout stuff. They're not awesome for basically everything that came in the box for steelhead, and which is really upsetting to me. But I'm definitely going to use these floats. It's just I'm not going to use them for steelhead or salmon, because everything, the 1/4 ounce stuff, the 1/8 ounce stuff, whatnot, has all proved to be kind of too heavy. 16th, no big deal. That's fine. Throw a sand shrimp on it, it'll float alright. But I recommend, if you're going to go steelhead, or you've got a fairly heavy piece of gear. Wow, that really chipped. I don't know what's supposed to be with that. Or if you're using fairly big gear, like a 1/4 ounce jig, get the big sliding floats. I don't have any, because I had these and I was like, oh, this will work great, you know. And I had fantastic experiences using these for trout for the last 2 years, because I didn't get to go steelhead fishing earlier in the season between work, life, weather, and then just the rivers being completely blown out. But yeah, this is just a quick breakdown, and I don't have anything against these guys. They're fantastic dudes, and the awareness that they bring and the conservation that they put out there and just showing the natural beauty of the landscape out here was a big part of what made me want to do this channel. I mean, I know that they focus basically completely on salmon, steelhead, trout, and that's their thing. That's cool. I do that plus bass. We're gonna do some pike stuff. We're gonna do some muskie stuff. You know. But yeah, that's just a recommendation. This kit is amazing. This kit is absolutely great. Everything in here, super high quality. If you're going to use the bigger jigs in it, I recommend a bigger float, because it just doesn't, once you get any movement on the water or anything like that, it's just, it could also be meaning that I need glasses, but it's hard to tell, because I mean, usually when a trout, a salmon, or steelhead, or anything like that hits a jig, anything like that, that bobber, down, gone, to the depths. It's just there was several times in there where I really thought something was messing with my jig, but wasn't going to just down with it, you know. And I didn't set the hook because I didn't want to, one, I didn't want to be that guy. Two, I didn't want to run that risk of actually snagging one of these fish. But yeah, that's really it. That's it. I cannot be mad about this setup at all, because I love the kit. It works great. I have plenty of their other stuff, and it all works. It all works fantastically. It's just that these floats necessarily are not the proper float, because this isn't even the big jig head for a worm, and this isn't even a full-size worm. I mean, and these worms, they don't float either. It's not like, oh, do they float? It is floating. Huh. I didn't think these floated. Anyway, so now we know these worms float. But this isn't even the big jig head. This is the big jig head. It holds it down too much. But yeah, that's kind of just, it's not even a rant. It's not even being harsh about it. It's just something to keep in mind. If you buy the steelhead or the Winter Chrome kit, get floats. Don't be me. Get additional floats. These floats are awesome. 1/8 ounce and smaller. Absolutely awesome. They are very well made. Like this one, I bounced off of a couple rocks and some trees. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I did crack it. I did crack the paint on it in multiple places, because it wasn't like a one-time thing where I bounced it off a rock wall. But they're well made. They hold up. The jigs are fantastic. The hooks are sharp. They are stout, and they are very quality. But if you want to use bigger than 1/8 ounce, you gotta get a bigger float. And I just recommend, I mean, you don't have to, but I highly recommend it because it just floats so low. Could also mean that I need glasses, which I probably do. I definitely do if you ask my girlfriend. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. I'm going to break down some other stuff later on. I learned so much on this trip about how woefully unprepared I really, really was for the conditions and just equipment. This is one of my equipment issues that I had on the trip. One of many. And because I made a couple other changes. I changed my braid mainline color, which was kind of a mistake. It wasn't. It kind of was, but it wasn't. But I'll break that up in a different video, guys. But I wanted this one to mostly just be about the Addicted Winter Chrome 2 box. Just wanted to talk about that. But yeah, love these guys. Love you guys. If you want to see more stuff like this, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that normal stuff. I really don't want to, say this every video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. But I really appreciate it. It also helps other people see the videos. But if you're going to go out, be very, very mindful of that water. It's still super, super cold. Even you southern guys. It's cold. It's unforgiving. Okay? Be safe out there. Okay? Make sure that you're equipped when you go out. Like bring backup ideas to your backup ideas. Don't do what I did. And most of all, fish around and find out. And I'll catch you guys later. See you later. Bye.